Moving on to the red cards, we have the Lightning Runner, which arguably is, a reckless assault if you got enough energy. Like I said, there's a lot of decks that do revolve around energy, and those that do may want to consider running this card if you plan on being aggressive. Although you do need a lot of energy to get that reckless assault, it may very well be worth it, especially if you do run a lot of creatures. 5 mana is also pretty heavy for a card like this, and it's only a 2-2 with double strike and haste, so it can be aggressive if need be, but I feel like it's going to be pretty easy to block it, and considering it doesn't have trample, if you don't run a lot of creatures, it can be very underwhelming. Moving on to one of the more interesting legends I've seen in a while, we have this pirate that really likes monkeys. Kari Zev is a very tough legend that is very hard to block, and seems to have an affinity with a certain particular monkey. Keep in mind, if this monkey ever dies in combat, it does come back, so that's one really resilient monkey. But this is probably really interesting. I'm sure a lot of people are going to really love this monkey, and this legend as well. I really feel like this is more of a just for fun and flavorful card, but you never know. I mean, it is very hard to block, I will give it that much. Like the other legend in the set, there's also an expertise for Kari Zev, which is basically Hijack, which gives you an additional 2 mana spell. Honestly, Hijack, I don't think I've seen too much play, but maybe you never know. You may be able to get, steal a creature or vehicle, and then get another creature as well, to really get a big presence. There could be a lot of haste creatures as well, or something else. So you never really know until you really test this card out. So in aggressive, fast red decks, it may be the best thing that's been around since sliced bread for standard, at least. I'm not really sure what the flavor of this is, but for some reason, red has a mythic polymorph for eggs. Although you will get at least one polymorph for the original mana cost of 4 mana, you can actually put X into this and polymorph X permanence. Although it is for only creatures and artifacts, it likely will result in a lot of chaotic happenings, as you'll never know which permanent type you will get upon destroying the permanents chosen. My personal favorite of Red's rares is Pia's Revolution, considering there are lots of ways to sacrifice artifacts or destroy artifacts, or get value from artifacts upon leaving the battlefield. This will make your opponent think twice before getting you a free recycle upon paying 3 life. Seriously, I think this card is great for longer games and great if you have a lot of artifacts or a lot of abilities where you have to sacrifice artifacts. So, yeah, your opponent's going to have to really have a mind game of whether or not they want to get punished or give you more cards. Just a fantastic card overall. I'm sure it will see some play in some EDH decks that just revolve around tons of artifacts. Next, we're going to talk about something delicious. Free Jam. I'm actually just kidding, but we will talk about Free Jam Regent, which is basically a dragon with Improvise. Although, I don't really know if this is going to be seeing a whole lot of play. With a lot of artifacts, it can cost a lot less. I just kind of wish it did a little bit more than what it did already. It just seems like it could have been a lot more exciting. To be honest, gremlins are a bit of a breather from all the goblins we've seen over the years. But having them destroy artifacts is actually kind of comical. Frankly, if you have enough mana, you can not only destroy a lot of artifacts, but get a lot of board presence as well. Kind of an interesting card, I will say so at most, and I'm sure it will have a home in EDH. Although I'm sure a lot of people would have preferred this to be goblins instead, but I guess those people will be the ones that are salty today. Invigorated Rampage is kind of neat. It's sort of like Fist of the Anvil, except a little bit more better as you can divide it among 2 creatures. Kind of interesting and very, very playable for some formats. I don't know if it'll see play outside of Standard, but I feel like if any aggressive build is going to be played in Standard, or any card of that matter is going to be played, it may be nice to have. You never know. Cards like these do come in handy at times, and so it's just a good option to have in case something like this ever comes about. Keep in mind, you very likely will only use this for Standard, though, so don't expect anything outside of the format if you decide to play this card. When you really think about it, Hungry Flames is basically just Searing Blood, but backwards and for 1 more mana. Although I kind of doubt this will see play out in Modern or Legacy or any other format of like that outside of Standard. It's very likely this will see some play within Standard. Like the other Searing cards, it actually is an instant, so it's very likely this will see play as well for that reason. It's also important to note that Ravenous Intruder is basically another copy of a Tog, the classic card that was used in Affinity a long time ago in Standard. It didn't see a bit of play in Modern when it first became a format, but the thing is that it greatly got outclassed by a bunch of artifact creatures like a Master of Ethereum, Edge Champion, and Steel Overseer. The point is, this used to be a very powerful card, and it's no different. It's basically the exact same thing. Just keep on sacking artifacts, and this thing just gets fucking enormous. The thing is in this standard format, since there are so many artifacts to sack and recycle, the possibilities are endless. So it very well will see play in some synergistic deck of that nature. Just with what artifacts, we don't really know. Going to more pushed territory, Wrangle can be seen as a pushed act of treason, just for a lot less, or 1 mana less. But you have to keep in mind, it does have a bit of restrictions, so whenever gaining control of that Eldrazi, it's just not going to work. All I can say is good luck of facing that Ulamog Red. You're going to need it. While the rest of Red's commons do seem kind of niche, and although they do have some purposes, they do kind of only fit in one particular strategy, which is kind of a bummer considering there could have been a lot more room for possibilities. Red's commons are arguably probably my least favorite in this set. I really feel like with all the other mechanics, they could have been really, really pushed and been something great. However, one card really caught my eye that did appear in the comment section, and that was Shock. And yes, if you've been playing Magic as long as I have, you'll know Shock is a reprint from, well, a whole assload of sets throughout the history of Magic the Gathering. Honestly, I like that Shock's back in the format, and it's a very good card. It has shown to be a very good card. My big question is, why the hell not Lightning Bolt? I mean, if you had put in Lightning Bolt instead of Shock, you wouldn't have to do silly things, like ban Smuggler's Copter. I mean, that's like the perfect counter right there. Ugh. But no, we got Shock. I really... seriously, in this format, I really feel like there is a big difference between 2 and 3 right now, especially considering Smuggler's Copter was played a lot. And 3 does take up a lot of mana, but considering there are so many creatures, I don't think Lightning Bolt could kill everything. So having a Lightning Bolt would just have been fantastic, but no. We got Shock, which, like I say, is not awful. We were kind of in need of more direct damage burn spells, but what was wrong with Lightning Bolt? Seriously. I love lightning. It's the best invention since free jam. And no, I'm not going to give you my free jam. This is my free jam. You can get your own. Sorry.